Let's go now to White House trade advisor Peter Navarro. Peter, can you just weigh in on something that's been that a lot of people are very, very interested? You know, you're there. Trump, Pence meetings. What's the relationship like now?
Well, that's between those two gentlemen. I can tell you that there was disappointment with what happened on January 6th. I think there was a clear belief that the vice president had the authority to basically take that 10 days that had been requested to look at what are undeniably election irregularities. So we know that happened. We know they've talked, but whatever's going on is between them. I'm not getting in the middle of it.
Gotcha. Mick Mulvaney, I believe at one point he was chief of staff for a very short period of time. Took a little shot at you on one of the weekend shows, Fox News Sunday. Take a listen.
He used to love vigorous debate from all sides of a particular issue. I don't know if he still has that in the White House. I don't know if he's surrounded himself with people like Rudy Giuliani and Peter Navarro that simply tell him what he wants to hear and reaffirm exactly what they think he wants them to say. That's a very dangerous position for any president to be in.
So what about that, Peter? Does he, did he? I mean, listen, everyone surrounds themselves with people who are like-minded as them, but is there pushback to the president? Were you able to push back at things that maybe you didn't agree with him necessarily?
Look, I think one of the problems that we had in the White House is that there were people inside like Mick Mulvaney who were not on board with the Trump agenda. The Trump agenda is one in which we have fair trade, we have secure borders, and we put an end to endless wars. And that wasn't people like Mulvaney, it wasn't people like John Kelly. And I think the situation that we've had more recently is more consistent with the White House that is pushing on forward with the Trump agenda. So let Mick take his shots. It's okay with me.
And I will remind folks, Mulvaney was no friend of Trump prior to Trump appointing him as chief of staff. That was a bit of a head scratcher. Sir, I want to move on a little bit, Peter. You've been front and center with China. For a lot of us out here who deal with the business community, I'm concerned about U.S.-China trade imbalances, China's kind of stranglehold over us on how we deal with trade. We have a trade imbalance that China dictates. They also hold a lot of our debt. What will a Biden administration look like with respect to China?
Eric, I'm very concerned about the next 6 months. I think this is going to be one of the most difficult times in the U.S.-China relationship. Communist China, President Xi Jinping has already talked about throwing shots across America's bow. What they're trying to do is celebrate dictatorship over democracy, point to the circus on Capitol Hill as saying that democracy is failing, that their model's better handling whatever it is, including the pandemic. And Eric, as this pandemic, which they foisted upon us, has been going on, they crushed democracy in Hong Kong. They invaded India. They're going wild in the South China Sea. They've threatened Biden now on the Taiwan issue. They are feeling, as they say, their oats. And I think they're going to push this next administration very hard. And my concern is looking at the people who are part of that. It's basically Biden 3, right? It's the third term of Barack Obama, essentially. And those people were not up to the job in the first two to standing up to China. So I'm very concerned about blue-collar America. They are the ones most at risk from China. I'm very concerned about this country in terms of cyber attacks, intellectual property theft, the things I call the 7 deadly sins, which communist China keeps doing to us. So this is going to be a tough time for us.
Peter, I have one more question. Now, about a minute. So there's a transition. There should be a transition going. Have you met with the incoming Biden administration for trade, and specifically China? And what are you telling them? And what do you have confidence in them if you are?
I haven't been asked to do that. It's not clear to me what lines of communication are open. I will always be willing to talk to anybody in that administration to reflect on my experiences over the last 4 years and what my thoughts might be. We are a country. We will be unified in the sense of a mission to protect our economy and protect this country. But I'm under no illusions that we are unified as a country now politically. We are a 50-50 country split right in half over significant differences of opinion as to how both domestic and foreign policy should go. And this is going to be a tough time for America.
Right. Very, very disturbing, Peter. I do some work with the ONDCP, the drug policy of the United States. There's already been a discussion with the incoming Biden administration, so there is a transition going on there. Very, very disturbing. Headline from this interview right here breaks some news that the Biden administration has not reached out to Peter Navarro regarding trade and specifically with China. That is of concern. Peter, thank you for your time, Peter Navarro.
You take care, sir. Bye-bye.